Well, it is always a pleasure to welcome on our senior senator for the state of Louisiana. It is U.S. Senator Bill Cassidy. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. I am fantastic.
Well, thank you as always for the time. I know that you guys are tremendously busy right now with everything going on. You know, Senator, I guess I'll start with late last week and the proceedings. I obviously know you're not on the committee, but what were your observations? What did you see from both Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh late last week with the hearings?
I saw Dr. Ford's confidentiality being abused by Democrats who repeatedly assured her that she could make the allegations privately, it could be investigated privately, that she would not be dragged into the public limelight. They cynically abused that. I say Democrats not because Louisiana Democrats or because of national Democrats. I'm speaking about Senate Democrats on the Judiciary Committee, just totally abusing that trust. Secondly, I saw uncorroborated allegations. You know, 4 people were said to be there. All 4 said they either didn't remember or it didn't happen. And then I heard, despite that, Kavanaugh's name being smeared. It was just amazing. Yeah. Every sense of fairness should be that if you got 4 people saying it didn't happen, including the best friend of the person alleging the actions, and 1 person saying it did, well, you think maybe the 4 are right, but not in this case. So anyway, it was not the highlight of the Senate's career this year.
Look, you had a chance to meet with Judge Kavanaugh prior to the confirmation hearings beginning. I guess that was about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago now. Did he strike you as having a temper issue, or did any of these things that the left is suggesting, did any of those things come out in your interactions with him?
Absolutely not. More importantly, he's been on the D.C. Circuit Court, which is called the second highest court in the land, for I think a decade, and there's never been a problem either. But you start punching a guy in the face in public, calling him a gang rapist, believing 1 person against the testimony of 4, and he's supposed to sit there and be calm and say, oh, yeah, call me a gang rapist. You got no proof. You got Michael Avenatti crawling out from underneath a rock, and you're taking him seriously. But no problem. You just go ahead and punch me in the face. Give me a break.
But it wasn't very judicial. It was not judicial for him to do that.
Say hello to Jim Leggett, Senator.
That's what got the allegations that Dr. Ford had even went by the wayside when he got vicious like that. And that's not judicial at all.
Vicious. Oh, Jim, he got vicious. He got vicious because people were calling him a gang rapist. I remember when Senator John Glenn was punched in the face by a protester, and he punched him back. You could say he wasn't being very senatorial. He was punched in the face, he punched back. Now, Jim, if on the radio 1 person said to you, you're a rapist, Jim, you're a rapist,
you would
your
get
whole
PO'd.
life lived above reproach, is now being, and by the way, people believe it. And everybody's calling in. And
people have called me names.
Destroyed.
Nobody's called me a rapist, but they called me names all the time, but I'm not a judge. I'm not a judge.
Yeah, no, you're a human being, and we don't attempt to destroy fellow human beings on the basis of uncorroborated allegations.
Look, Senator,
and then expect them just to sit and be calm. Oh, go ahead and destroy my reputation. No big deal. I mean, I just cannot understand the standard a fellow human being is being held to.
Senator, I do have to ask this. You know, you not only are a physician, but you've done so many different things and served on so many different things in your life prior to getting to the U.S. Senate. It seems like, and I hate to say this because I don't lump you into this category, but it seems like that maybe the U.S. Senate is the most immature level that you've reached now with the way that certain senators are acting. I mean, I just thought that late last week was a horrible 2 days for the American people to watch.
So on Sunday mornings at my church in Baton Rouge, I teach first grader Sunday school.
Yes, sir.
It's a relief.
Try 7th and 8th graders.
Yeah, I can imagine. Senator Bill Cassidy is our guest here on Talkback. Senator, I guess the final question that I got 2 more questions about Kavanaugh, then I want to ask you about 2 other things. But did you find Dr. Ford's testimony, quote, credible? And the reason why I ask that is you are a physician. I know you're not a psychiatrist, but you are a physician. Did you find what she was saying to be truthful, or at least appear to be truthful?
So clearly, Dr. Ford is reporting some terrible event in her past. Clearly. And we can have sympathy for that, respect that, and respect that many who support her feel as if they have been similarly ignored when they were assaulted, violated, or harassed. So we can acknowledge that. But when she says that 4 different people were there, and all 4 say it didn't happen, and one of those 4 happens to be her best friend, we can say something happened, but it is not what you say. Now, by the way, there's been other discrepancies that have come out. She said that the second door in her house was built because she was claustrophobic, and it appears it was built before the date she said it was, and it was built to create an apartment for someone to be sublet to someone, and that person subletting may have been her marriage therapist. And so there's other discrepancies that have come out that, again, are objectively, it isn't my word, your word. No, they are objectively incorrect. And so at some point you have to say objectively, if 4 people say you're wrong, something happened, but it's not what you're describing.
How do you see I know that Senator McConnell made the announcement last night that you guys would vote tomorrow. How do you see that going tomorrow?
I think Kavanaugh gets approved because I think fundamentally in our society, you have to have a sense of fairness. It can't just be innuendo and people like Michael Avenatti. It has to be fair. And when 4 people say it didn't happen, including the person making the allegation's best friend, you got to believe the 4. At which point, fairness is you don't allow a person's life to be destroyed.
I know that we're working with limited time with you as you've got to call in a couple of other shows, but I wanted to ask you about 2 things very briefly, and we'll go a complete 180 from all of the Judge Kavanaugh discussion. And there are 2 happy things for the state senator, one of which is something I know that you're very passionate about, and that's the Patient Right to Know Drug Prices Act. Can you tell everyone what that's about?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm a doc. I've been working with the uninsured patients in Louisiana for 30 years. I'd see patients from central Louisiana referred down to Baton Rouge because I was the doctor that could treat their condition. And one thing that I've learned is that patients are paying way too much for medications. One way they're paying too much for medication is that the pharmacist would not be allowed to tell the patient that she could save money by paying cash compared to paying her insurance copay. Insurance copay might be $75. She could buy it for cash for $25, and the pharmacist couldn't tell her that because if he did, he would lose his contract with the insurance company. So we've just changed that. If it's cheaper for the patient, the pharmacist can tell her. And we have to give power to the patient, and this is one way we're giving power to the patient.
Well, thank you as a doctor for doing that, too. You're using your elected position to help the patient, which is certainly something that's not only needed here in Louisiana, but needed in the country. And finally, real quick, I know the good news about the rebuilding grants, the federal rebuilding grants through the Louisiana Restore program. Can you talk about that to wrap up?
Yeah, totally. The Great Floods of 2016 affected North and South Louisiana. And so folks were told, hey, go get an SBA loan. And so they go get an SBA loan. And then they find out just by applying for an SBA loan, they can't get a Restore Louisiana grant. And so folks whose whole lives are turned upside down can't get whatever help they need for hopeful restoration. We just changed that. So if you were in one of the Great Floods of 2016, and you took an SBA loan, then you can still, or applied, you can still get a Restore Louisiana grant. One other thing we did for schools, the way the rules are written is that there's a $500,000 FEMA deductible for every building on a campus. We changed that so it's a $500,000 deductible for a campus. So if you got 5 buildings, instead of being $2.5 million deductible, it's a $500,000 deductible.
That's
we need money going for education, not for deductibles.
That's fantastic, Senator. Once again, thank you for all the hard work that you're doing. And I know that time is of the essence right now for these past couple of weeks in the U.S. Senate. So certainly, sir, as always, we appreciate your time, and we'll catch up with you next month.
Jim, Matt, thank you all very much.
All right,
Thank you, sir. Take care.